Hello, thanks for tuning in. So today I'm going to get a little bit personal. I don't usually talk about myself. I obviously talk about I don't like the world the way it is and I believe we're looking through a phenomenological lens. But that's about we, that's about us, that's about the God we might be. That's about the blueprint, I believe, the internal blueprint that we should all unify around. But in respect to talking about my own life, let's just start with schizophrenia. And I suffered in my early 20s, deep depression. I suffered schizophrenic depression. I believed one time that my girlfriend at the time, I asked her if her dad, who just happened to be a scientist, was experimenting on me in some manner, that I was his guinea pig and he was conducting secret experiments on me for whatever reason. And I genuinely believed that. I asked my girlfriend at the time, straight out, like, is your dad experimenting on me? And that was the level of paranoia I was operating at. I was so fucking lost in the world. I was in so much mental pain, mental anguish. It was just relentless. It never stopped. Rumination, super highway, all the way to the edge of despair. I was in deep turmoil, internal turmoil, and as a young man, I just couldn't find my way in this world. And the schizophrenic monster inside me, it came out in different ways. I pushed my head through windows. I broken pint glasses in my chest and pulled out the glass. I had 83 stitches in my torso and I ripped them all out the following day with my nails in a fit of rage that you possibly can't fathom. Some of you can. So I know schizophrenia. I know what it means to have the mind split from its source, from its biological and chemical and spiritual metaphysical source. I was fucking shattered. I was scattered to the seven winds. I was a young man in pieces. So yes, I know schizophrenia. I know what it means to be in deep anguish, to live a life year after year in pain, in a state of hopelessness, in a state of despair, in a state of ideations of suicide was a constant umbrella construct over my head. But for some reason there was also an inner voice inside me that told me to keep going, that told me to find purpose, that told me meaning was out there somewhere. I guess I was lucky in that respect. I had a drive, I had this feeling compelling me all the time to move forward, to climb out of this schizophrenic hole you are in, to survive at all costs. And what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, as they say, and I believe it's made me stronger. So why am I talking about such a personal phase, such a personal chapter in my life? Why am I relaying that? Well, there are millions and millions of people depressed on our planet on this day. There are millions of young people who are lost, they've lost their way, and there are countless numbers who are mutilating. And it's important that we relate to one another, and if we're going to talk and speak on behalf of one another, then we need to be able to relate to one another. And mutilation for me at the time was kind of a mental valve. It's like a kettle letting off steam before the lid blows completely off. I was in so much mental turmoil that by cutting myself, if you naturally cut yourself, once you bleed, you go into sort of, hyper focus, you want to survive, you want to thrive and so on. And that panic to focus and deal with the bleeding took my mind away from its own mental turmoil, if that makes sense. That momentary rush, that momentary physical rush, the relief that came with it. And it just got worse and worse and the cuts got deeper and deeper over time. Like a heroin user wanting that first blast again, that first initial fix, because there was a fix attached to it. So yes, it was all about letting off steam, and it was all about letting off steam because I did not understand my place in this world. I did not understand my place in this world because the world felt out of balance, out of kilter with itself. Something innately felt wrong. It's all fucking upside down. We don't need to go through it. And every young person today feels that. I felt it, you feel it, we all feel it, even adults feel it. The world is, at a crisis point now in our history. We've never been more upside down as a species, and we all feel it. And it's affecting all of us, and it's affecting young people. And like I said, many of them are cutting themselves, many are committing suicide, many of them are bulimic or anorexic. Depression is a very broad field. And people are traumatized in myriad ways and dealing with that trauma in myriad ways. The permeating permutations are ad infinitum, they're endless. It's hard to take stock of it all. So we can just kind of take stock of it all as a big collective blob in motion trying to rise out of its own self. So yes, schizophrenia. And, with the schizophrenic mind, you see the world through a crooked lens. You really do. I had so much anger in me. I hated everything. I fucking hated everything. I mean, I could feel the love. I knew as a species we were about love, that we wanted to be about love. We were in so many shadows, and when your mind is twisted, right, when it's out of balance with its own nature, like I said, your view of everything, your perspectives are skewed, and you're blaming everyone, you're pointing the finger. And in a way, we have a right to blame. We have a right to blame corrupt politicians and corrupt oligarchs and corrupt churches and, corrupt schools and corrupt ideologies. It all fucking gets into the mix, the mental and spiritual and the heart mix of humanity, and eats us up in myriad ways. Like I said, permutations ad infinitum. That's how we can measure it. That's how we can take stock of it all as a big collective blob becoming, trying to rise out of its animal self, if you will. So yes, I know pain, I know deep pain, and it's important if I'm going to talk on behalf of people that I know pain, because it helps me relate to people, it helps me relate to you, and it helps you, more importantly, relate to me, because we have to learn to relate to one another again. And part of understanding the relations, how we're going to relate again and unify around relations is, there's a surrendering. There has to be a surrendering and a deep acceptance of what we are on this day and what we become and the trouble we are in because of each other. We are the ones fucking each other over. We are the ones exploiting one another. We are the ones classifying each other as different castes, different class, different stations. We are the ones doing that to ourselves, and it's causing myriad problems for myriad people in myriad ways. And it has to be brought to account. It has to be brought to the table. We have to discuss it. We have to discuss the pain we're in. And we have to discuss the pain we're in because the pain we're in is causing, us to have skewed perspectives of one another. The biggest sin of all is that we've lost sight of our brothers and sisters. We've lost sight of each other. But like I said, the deeper down the hole you go, the more pain you in, the more you hate. The more you hate, say, black people, or, the more you hate women, or the more you hate gay people, or the more you hate Christians or Muslims, or the more you hate politicians, or the more you hate the upper class and the 1%. When you're angry, when you feel hopeless, okay, like I said, you look through a different lens, and that distorts your view of your reality. It distorts your view of reality, and this is really important that we understand this, because we're so fucking divided, and these divisions seem to be getting bigger. I mean, the media is definitely exacerbating the problem, and it's, painting it larger than it actually is. But, once it ignites the fires within, humans are capable of we were capable of chopping each other up and pushing each other into gas chambers, okay? We're capable of so much fucking damage if we let the schizophrenic devil through. I hope I'm making sense. Okay, I'm just trying to relate to you. I want you to relate to me. We need to come back to the table. And I understand your pain. I understand if you hate me, if you hate, people of a different colour, if you hate gay people, if you hate Christians, okay? It doesn't mean you're not human, The reality is you're probably lost in a muddle of schizophrenic anger and pain, emotional turmoil and anguish, and you can't get out of it. You can't get out of it. It's easy for me to step up here and say, hey, come to the table of humanity and hold hands, and we'll all sing songs about come by air, my Lord, and let's all love each other as a big collective head. But the world doesn't love you, okay? The world is not a very loving place because, like I said, we're fucking each other over. We're playing games with our own nature. We're pissing in our own pond. We're forgetting to look through the correct lens. We're unable to look through the correct lens. And there's so many lenses. Your lens is more than likely crooked. Okay, a corporate businessman, you look through a crooked lens too. The monarchy look through a crooked lens. We look at history through crooked lenses. We look at each other through crooked lenses, okay? We all end up despising each other by varying degrees. We all end up hating one another. We hate groups, And anyway, okay? My overall point being is we're in pain, and that pain skews our view of each other, okay? And the deeper down you go, into the hole of pain, okay, the more you hate, the more you resent, the more you feel lost, the more you feel indignant, the more you feel like you don't give a shit anymore, the more apathetic you feel and indifferent, okay, it causes problems. And a balanced mind, glad to say I'm a happy being now, okay, I might sound a bit angry, but I'm not, I assure you it's just passionate, I'm just passion, okay, I'm compassionate about our species, I'm a very happy human being, I love my life, I love my family and my friends, I love my son. I love sitting in a chair looking at bees land on flowers. That's good enough. Okay, that's the highest level. That's me on the mountain. And I've come out of a schizophrenic hole. I've climbed my way out, I've clawed my way out to find balance, to find meaning. And there is meaning in our purpose, but To find it, you know, you have to climb out of the hole first. You have to realign with your own head. You have to find balance. You have to find balance within, so we can begin to see one another. So yeah, how do we unify? Okay, we unify around the fact that we're all in pain. We unify around the fact that we're all broken, because these are the first steps. Yes, I want you to unify around an axiomatic system that lies within, that gives, you know, a blueprint of the human species. But that's a very complex story. Right now we can unify around ideas like coming together, you know, around the idea, you know, coming together around the fact that we are a broken head, that we're lost on the existential mile, that we're all fucking lost, and no one has the ultimate answer. Okay, nobody has the ultimate answer, and there isn't an answer in the ultimate book. We got to wake up to that and accept that. Okay, we got to come together again, and we got to come together by understanding, like by putting down our armor, by putting down our biases, by putting down our prejudices, and sitting at the table and realize, wow, my fellow man and my fellow sister are fucking broken. They're upside down, and some appear to be balanced and happy, and, you know, floating away on the boat down the stream. But overall, the majority are in turmoil. I truly believe that. We're lost, and we know things are getting worse. And in relation to unifying, you know, unification is a big concept. Unification is a big concept. And, you know, I mean, the Christians are not all unified. Some are gay Christians and some are homophobic Christians. You know, there are white racist Christians who believe in the love of Jesus Christ and all that. Okay, we're not unified, or no group is unified. So it's very hard to talk about unification in a world that is not very loving. It's very hard to talk about unifications, but we don't have to worry about it. It's all about unification by degree. It's all about coming back to the table of humanity by degree, unifying by degree. So we can unify around the fact that some have had better opportunities, and some have had better opportunities, but their parents were constant, now they're fucking traumatized, broken, schizophrenic muddles of whatever. Okay, even the people up on top, and the 1%, they suffer too. And, you know, we unify around the fact that we want love. We unify around the fact that we're doing our best for our children. We're unifying around the fact that we want clean water and clean air, and we want a fairer society. We want a, you know, a society ran on green energy. We're unifying around the fact that animals have rights too, and we shouldn't be chopping them up. There is a genocide of animals going on, and we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it too. But we can unify around the fact that we're ignorant and arrogant and lost and broken by degree. We can unify around that, and we can unify around the fact that we can be reasonable, and we can be loving, and we can be tender. We know we can show tenderness and care, and we want to hold sacred by the butterfly and the bee and every child on the planet. And that's something brilliant about us that we can unify around. So like I said, it's all about unification by degree. Because if you're looking for that one perfect circle or that one perfect voice, you know, I mean, there's a perfect voice in this in terms of let's unify around the fact that we're imperfect and broken. Okay, there's something perfect about that, but that's as good as it gets. That's as good as it gets on this day. So yeah, I hope there's something in that. I just want you to know that I can relate to you, and I relate to the pain you're in, and, you know, I can relate to the way the pain drives you around the fucking bend, and you hate the world, you resent the world, you feel indignant and lost and cheated. I relate to that, okay? And, you know, so, but, you know, we're more than that. We can be more than that. We need to become more than that. We need to save our world. We need to save each other. We need to save our children. We need to save the fucking day. So peace and love and logic. Thanks for tuning in.